Hello and welcome to the Combed Education Podcast. Let's talk hair. This is Aras and I am your host. I am a fellow hairstylist and I've been in this industry for over 20 years. And one of my biggest purposes and goals is to contribute back to this industry that has been so incredibly rewarding for me. And the Let's Talk Hair podcast is the one way that I choose to do that. On this podcast, I share about hair color, hair tips, hairdresser life, mindset, and all of the things that have helped me cultivate a successful career in this industry. My goal is to help you do the same. And so today's episode, I want to give you a little bit of credit and a little bit of kudos if you did click to listen, because the title is a bit harsh, and the title is "You Are the Problem." So I know it is a little harsh, but I want you to hear me out, because if you're ready and you're open to a perspective shift that can literally change your life, change your career, I want you to keep reading and keep listening and keep watching, okay? I promise you this will be worth it. Just hang tight. I want to tell you a little story. We're going to go back in time here, and full transparency, I'm going to be a little honest and vulnerable with you guys. So it's 2015. My husband at the time had been unemployed for a few months, and the tension in our household was pretty high. So we just purchased our dream home, a few months before, and a month after we closed escrow, my husband lost his job. So my son was about a year old at the time, and I was in the thick of it. Diaper changes, play dates, no sleep, mommy and me, like in the thick of it. Moms, I know you remember this stage, baby's one, you are in it. So I was working behind the chair. I had a salon suite at the time, and I was only working part-time. And let's just say my business was suffering. So I had my own suite, and the clients were canceling left and right. My books were wide open and money was not flowing. And to top it off, I was miserable. Postpartum depression had its grips on me, and it was really difficult to see any light at the end of the tunnel. And then I remember one day my husband sat me down to have a talk. Now, given the state of our marriage and my mental health, the money tension in the house, like all of that, this talk scared the shit out of me, and I was convinced he was going to ask me for a divorce. Like, who would want to be with me? I'm a hot mess. Anyways, so what he had done is he had combed through our finances, and he dissected my business's profits and loss. And he showed me in plain sight what my business was doing, how I was operating, and I was operating at a loss of over $1,200 a month, at a loss. So I knew that things were bad, but I didn't know how bad they were. And then there was this dreaded statement from him. And he said, maybe it's time for you to get a job. A job? I was like, wait, what? Fuck that. I have a career. I don't need a fucking job. But that career, if I'm being honest, it wasn't a career. It was a dream. It was a goal. It was I want it. But it was sinking, and it was sinking so fast. And I remember I was so offended and I was so triggered because, backstory, when I decided to go to cosmetology school, I was still in high school. My dad and my grandpa sat me down and tried to talk me out of it, saying I should get a real job. Hairdressing isn't an industry for smart people, it's for dumb people. But think about it this way, guys. I know a lot of you may not know this, but I'm full Armenian, first generation American. And so back home, I don't know, they maybe did not value our career. And my dad would tell me, you need to be a doctor or a lawyer. This isn't going to make you any money. You need to get a real job. So when my husband said, maybe it's time for you to get a job, I was like, whoa, PTSD trigger alert. Like, oh, hell no. But at the time, I acknowledged what he said. I was like, okay, I hear you loud and clear. I get your point. But inside, I was fuming. My clients canceling left and right, my books being wide open, the fact that I was broke as a fucking joke, none of it at the time was my fault. Okay, I justified every single reason why my business wasn't thriving, and I lived in that victim and angry state even for a few days after that talk. I was like, he doesn't know what he's talking about, and clients, recession, and money. And like, I blamed everybody. And then one night, everything literally changed for me. And it was in the wee hours of the night. My son at the time refused to sleep anywhere but right here on my chest. And the thought came to me, like I'm watching my baby, and there was this thought that came to me. And it said, it doesn't have to be like this, right? Because now I'm thinking about everything my husband said, and it's in my mind. It doesn't have to be like this, right? I felt the rise and fall of his breathing on my chest, and he was sleeping. And like, it was louder in my head. It doesn't have to be like this. And I broke down. I remembered everything that I had learned through, I've done a lot of personal development, I've read a lot of books, I've done a lot of seminars, like I'd done all of the work. And like in that moment, I remembered everything I had learned about mindset and personal development and personal responsibility. And I look back over these last few years that had gotten me to that point. I was dissecting, like, where did I stray? Where had I gone wrong? And where was I falling victim to everything? And I realized very loud and clear in that moment, I was the problem. Me. I was the problem. Where I was in that moment, uninspired, broke, no passion, depressed, it was all me. So my clients were canceling because of me. Honestly, who would want to get their hair done by a stylist who was so negative and so uninspired and just so out of it? My books were wide open because, frankly, I had done nothing about it. Did I ask my clients for referrals? Did I go hand out my business cards? Did I post on social media? No. Okay. My business was literally failing because I had put zero attention to it. I was the problem. It wasn't my suite mates or my mentors or who I learned from or who I watched or what school I went to or none of that. And then in like the middle of my breakdown, right, like all of these thoughts rushing through my head, tears, snot, all of it, there was a thought that came that was so fucking life-changing and so simple, but so deep and complex. And it was really simply, I am the solution. If I am the problem and it's in me, then I am the solution. Everything changed. I'm telling you, like complete 180. Everything changed in that moment. I am the solution. It's on me. Aras, it's on you. My mind is telling me this, right? My attitude, my energy, my perspective, my outlook, my finances, my business, my whole life changed and like shifted that second I realized that it's in me. I am the solution. I can no longer fall victim to all of this shit. I am the solution. So I share this story because it was such a benchmark moment for me in my life. It was when I owned my personal responsibility and the power that I had over my life that everything changed. So when I say you are the problem, I want to ask you to explore that. Because it's so easy, and I've been there, I've been there, so easy to play the blame game. Even the justifiable blame game. But let me tell you, it's when you blame, you lose. You lose, I'm telling you. And I was losing bad because none of it was my fault. Mad at my husband because he lost his job, mad at my clients because they're canceling, mad at the owner of my suite building because of this, mad at my suite, like blaming everybody, not looking in the mirror. I was powerless. When I'm blaming, I'm powerless. It's all on somebody else. I was being victim to my life. When I chose responsibility for my life, that's when the magic began. Like the energetic shift in my mindset and my perspective, coupled with the rebel in me that refused to get a job, I was like, oh, hell no. That's not happening. I have not spent 15 years at that point, 14, 15 years in this career to just walk away. Fuck that. And when I realized that I own the power, monumental change that propelled so fast. So fast. So within months, my business completely shifted. The inspiration and the passion that I thought I had lost resurfaced with a vengeance. And I've honestly reaped the benefits in other areas of my life. Like my marriage turned around, my physical health, my mental health, all of it was like on the upswing because I felt empowered instead of victim. That perspective shift changed my life in that moment. And I know it can do the same for you if you choose to explore it, right? This is why part of my mission is to inspire and empower through my learnings, right? I'm so passionate about empowering this industry because burnout is real. Wanting to quit is real. Not feeling good enough is real. Imposter, all of these things are real, but they're not. They're real in our head. And so what I'm going to ask of you, if you've been listening this far, where in your life are you playing the victim card? Where are you blaming someone or something outside of you? Where are you the problem? I know it's there. Identify it. Shine the light on it. Acknowledge it. Seek it out. Where am I the problem? And then the magic, right? Lean into the thought of, okay, I am the solution. It's in me. And watch your life like change, transform completely. Just by perspective shift. Going from victim to victor. I know that's cliche, but like going from victim to responsible, going from powerless to empowered. It's not in a self-help book. It's not in this podcast episode. It's not in a seminar or a class. It's in you if you choose to dig, acknowledge it, shine your light on it, find it. How am I playing blame game? How am I being a victim? How am I responsible for the results that I'm creating? Get that, and then lean into, okay, I am the solution. Because it's in you. I promise you, it's in you. I hope you take the time out, carve out some time to do a little digging. You might be surprised at what you find. And maybe a few years down the line, you'll look back and thank yourself for doing so. Until next time, guys, happy hair coloring.